the things I do for art sometimes.
So I haven't had a lot of experience with special effects, makeup or anything, except for one of the videos we did for Ego Likeness for a song called Treacherous Thing. And in it, Kyle Cassidy directed it. It was like my concept, but he was doing the directorial stuff. And then, so me in the video, I was sort of this entity, like this demonic entity. And I wanted a shot where everything, like I wanted black dripping from my eyes, I wanted it coming out of my mouth. So that was really interesting because we had one take to do it in. I mean, I could have, but I would have had to shower. I had full on airbrushed white, like completely white. So it was a long process. So we got the black eye blood, which is a thing you can buy. It's called eye blood, in red or black. And then Caro syrup with black food coloring. So I had to tilt my head back. The eye blood went in, filled my mouth with the black Caro syrup, and Kyle was like, "Okay, on the count of 3, lean forward." And I did, and it was just like, and it was perfect. Like it got
At least it's
right
tasty.
away.
It's sugar, so.
That stuff's weird in your eyes, though. It's like you can still see, but you're like looking through a veil. It's very weird.
Instant sunglasses.
I just mess with a lot of the spooky contacts.
Yeah. Try the eye blood. It's interesting. Like, it didn't irritate my eyes at all. I will say that. Like I
You
just.
still have visibility?
Well, I also had 4 contacts in. No, I'm just kidding.
Because I have contacts
Yeah, I
that are
didn't-
like a mesh that makes your eyes look like you're blind. So you have like maybe about 80% visibility.
Yeah. No, I could still see. It was because it was like covering the whole sclera. Like the sclera. I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, you could still see. I mean, I couldn't have like driven a car like that, but or maybe I could. I don't know.
Let's go try.
Yeah. So did you have any more? Okay, I just wanted to make sure you didn't have another.
Yeah.
Thing. That was really
Unless somebody
cool,
wants to get bloodied
awesome.
again.
So what are people's thoughts on, since we're talking a lot about special effects, makeup, and gore versus psychological horror? Like,
It's the best.
people kind of like both ways on it, or you feel pretty polarized? Yeah.
Despite the fact I'm sitting in this panel, I don't like horror movies. I just don't.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I like to hear stuff like this. To me, I think psychological is worse. Because we used to know people who know people, blah, 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 who would run a haunted house in October. And like, it's not our job to scare you, it's our job to scar you. Now, you can't get rid of it in here. On a movie, you're like, that's fake blood. It's not real.
Yeah.
You know it's not. You suspend belief to enjoy your movie, but you know it's not real.
Right.
When it's in your head, you can't get rid of that immediately. It's always there.
Yeah.
So I think psychological to me is more damaging and more permanent. Better word.
Yeah. Well, I
you
think.
know the blood is gore. You know the
Yeah.
exploding head. You know the actor's fine.
Yeah.
It's really
Belief
important. John
is
Carpenter.
Psychological. Oh, my favorite is Vampire.
Oh, yeah, John Carpenter.
What?
Well, go back a little bit further. Say like Halloween, the original Shape.
That scared the shit out
I
of me.
mean,
as a child.
you never really saw who Michael Myers was. You just had this impression of this monster, this killer in your head.
Right.
And there's nothing more scary than your own brain telling you
I think that's
what's
the
scary.
draw of slashers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it so interesting.
That made that film crucial to horror. Absolutely.
Well, it's like,
question.
Yes.
Like, what do you think of films like A24 that sort of blur the line between gore and psychological
I love
horror?
it. A24 is some of the best thing that ever happened to horror.
Yeah.
I agree.
I hate A24.
You hate it?
Do you really?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like not all of their films, but I feel like a lot of their top draw films that we've seen, the Hereditaries, the Midsommers, all of that stuff, it's all movies we've seen before. It's
I
just-
get mixed bag from a lot of the Midsummer.
I feel like it's art house, like Hereditary is like the art house Exorcist, and Midsummer is Wicker Man.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it's just like-
Totally. But
Ain't nothing better than a real thing.
yeah.
Yeah, but
No,
that click
you're-
noise.
You're spot on with that, but I happen to like it. Like,
I mean-
but your description is absolutely, I mean, yeah, you can't watch Midsummer and not
Right.
think about.
I mean,
the
I don't,
it's
I
full
don't
horror.
poo-poo on anybody that likes
Oh,
it,
no,
whatever,
no,
but.
no.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks for volunteering.
He comes and gets bloodied up and just leaves.
See, I'm always taking advantage of.
I think, so I think for me, the appeal of the A24 stuff is, like you said, it's blending, it isn't just like gore, it's not hostile, it's not, torture porn, but it is very, visceral. Which I really appreciate, but yeah, it does have that more like art house element,
Yes.
like you were saying, which I actually do like, but I know that's not everybody's bag, so yeah, no judgment either.
I
Of
think
course.
A24's best film is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which isn't a horror
Oh
film.
god, that's such a great movie.
I mean, if I had to pick my favorite A24, I'm going hometown hero here, Kevin Smith, Tusk.
Oh god,
Yeah.
yes. Did you see In Fabric?
Yes.
That is such a fucking weird movie. Like I don't know how. Well, I didn't.
Weird is the best
I
description.
didn't know it was supposed to be a comedy right away, and I was like, "What the hell am I watching?" And then I was like, "Oh, okay, no, it's supposed to be a comedy. Okay, I got it now." What a weird movie. It's about a murderous dress, and it gets so weird. It turns into like a. Oh yeah, the
Slacks.
slacks, yeah.
Killer Sofa, any Killer Sofa fans?
But that was, oh god, like, yeah.
No Killer Sofa fans? What about Psycho Goreman?
Yes.
Yes.
What about the one with the tire?
Hunky Boys.
Robert, that was awesome.
You just said you're not into horror, and yet you know about all the shenanigans.
Rubber, there's an old film called The Refrigerator.
Oh my god.
You've heard of it?
You've heard of Refrigerator? Oh my god, I thought we were getting good. And
I
then
haven't
of course
seen
Zombievers.
Which one?
Yes.
Zombievers.
Yes.
Oh, no, I
I wouldn't
haven't
call
seen
that horror. That's just a really
Really,
pissed off beat.
Zombievers killing people that falls into zombies.
I was always a fan of The Entity.
The what?
The Entity? Anybody seen that? It's in the 70s, but the scene that sells it for me is the girl gets raped by a ghost, and I'm like,
Oh, remember 20 years ago it was cold?
how are we doing this exactly? Like,
God.
So, what are anyone thoughts on The Void and their more touch towards H.P. Lovecraft and a nod towards The Thing and
I really liked
horror
The
there?
Void a lot.
yeah.
Did you see
I think it's
Color
very
Out of
underrated.
Space? 'Cause
Oh my
I-
God,
loved it.
love.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah.
That's some great body horror
Yeah.
right there. Yeah, I like that kind of stuff when it's done well. I mean, I loved In the Mouth of Madness. I mean, that's, you watch it, it holds up okay. Like, there's some stuff that nowadays it's kind of like, looks a little iffy. But no, I mean, that's a great movie.
I love like Lovecraft, Guillermo del Toro, like all the beautiful
Yeah.
horror.
Yeah.
All the Arkham Asylum stuff,
Yeah.
everything that's come out with like, it's horror, but it's also got a beauty and a structure to it, and makes this whole pantheon of creatures.
Yeah. You seen Dagon?
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yes.
That's like the best worst movie.
Right,
I love
yeah.
it's not a good movie yet, I love it. But if you're into
Yeah.
mythos,
Yeah.
like that's a good one to go with.
Psychological horror is great. It definitely makes it a little bit harder to get to sleep at night. I'm a slasher whore. I can't help it.
What's your favorite slasher?
Oh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
I don't love slasher
Dog will
stuff,
hunt.
but that's
Seriously,
probably my
like,
favorite.
It's one of my favorites.
I gotta go
And
pieces.
Bill Moseley is an incredible actor. And
Bill
he's
Moseley's
awesome
God.
dude too. He's like so good. Yeah, very partial to slashers. The gore, I mean, for me, it's just like appreciating the art. Yes, it's gross, but I like that. I like that grossness. I like feeling a little bit unsettled visually besides the psychological. Psychological can, already mess up things that are a little bit cross-wired anyway. But as far as seeing something visual, to me, that's art.
Well, when you see your insides on the outside, that's kind of. I mean, really, like, how much more terrifying can you get?
I have my uterus posted on the internet. For the
I know, I
whole
have
world to see.
I had a teratoma in 2011. They found a teratoma in my body, which if you don't know what that is, do not Google it while you're doing something like that. It is a tumor that it gets confused and it thinks it's it's an egg cell that thinks it's fertilized, but it's not, but it starts trying to make another you. So it had teeth and it had hair.
Yeah, Stephen was actually talking
And
about
so I have a picture of that in our living room. Like they gave me they didn't let me keep it, but they
So
did
you
give
had
me the.
Belial growing in you? Is that what's?
It was just a little guy.
Keep it, like, let's get the
They
basket.
wouldn't let me keep it. They,
You gotta just go in.
yeah.
I gave you the lowdown, you just gotta go in.
But that was I think it just was so ironic because I'm so into body horror, and then I'm like, well, of course. And I gotta tell you, like, knowing that was in there, because it was like a month before I could get the surgery to have it removed, that was weird walking around. I'm like, there's something inside of me that's growing teeth right now. It's growing another me. It's trying
having
really
that knowledge
hard.
would be mentally disturbing.
It was very disturbing, but I think, so talking about like psychological horror versus, gore and slasher and stuff, I really do think that it's more connected than we think. You might have a, preference when you're watching movies or things like that, but at the same time, it is all psychological because you are, this is the stuff you're made of, and when your body goes awry, like if you're not in control of your brain, you're not in control of your body, the loss of that control is one of the most terrifying things. And that's just like the reality of life, like you just don't have control. And you think you do until something happens and you're like, nope, don't have it.
Yeah, they
So,
definitely go hand in hand.
That is to
You can't have one
me,
without the other.
yeah, that is to me like the epitome of horror, so.
I was gonna say, like, the perfect combination of the two to me for what you're describing is the Fly remake. Because it's the psychological plus it's the
Yep.
body horror. It's super gory and graphic, but it's also cerebral as fuck. Like
And emotional, like the
yeah, there's a
the loss
romance
of the
angle,
love, yeah.
and like even his like driving factor is, I'm gonna do this so we're all together as one happy family because you're pregnant. I'm gonna put us all in the machine, like all that crazy thinking just to get there. It's like it's psychological study for him beyond just what's going on with the,
Right.
like his science
yeah.
crazed mind at that point.
It is really a good, that really does encompass so much
Mhm.
of it. It is just a brilliant movie. But again, I mean, David Cronenberg, like I said, Dead Ringers is my favorite. David
Oh,
Cronenberg.
yes.
One, because Jeremy Irons is my favorite actor, and there's two of them. And
Let's
he's
not
a
forget
other
also-
gynecologist.
I know where your brain's going with that.
Produced by Mel Brooks.
Oh,
The Fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
There's Velvet
Yep.
Entertainment and there's Brooks Entertainment.
Did not know
Yeah, all the sick stuff is Brooks Entertainment.
that. Did not know that.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So did any of you folks have any questions that you want to ask any of us? No? Yes?
What are some of your favorite protagonists in horror movies?
Protagonists. Like the hero? Come on.
Depending on, I don't know. I don't know.
Listen,
I guess.
I dressed up as a Cenobite yesterday. Where do you think my
or
brain's
maybe,
going?
or maybe you see the Cenobite as the protagonist if you want to.
I'm team
I-
villain
well,
always.
yeah, that's-
100%.
Because let's face it, some horror movies, the monster is the protagonist.
My first crush was Darth Vader. So, yeah, when you're asking that kind of question, I think one of the things that draws people to horror is that when you do love the monster,
Mhm.
even when the monster is really
Speaking of the
bad,
monster, so you're asking about protagonists.
Yeah, or if you want to.
I would have to go with Frankenstein's monster.
Just going there.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to talk about a protagonist,
yeah, he's
he's
not the
the
bad guy.
epitome
Yeah,
of that.
he's the
All he
victim.
wanted was somebody to love and care for him.
Right.
And he didn't understand why he was put on this world.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean,
I know,
be destroyed. It's just
Pretty much
breaks my heart.
every character in Nightbreed.
Yeah, well, yeah.
All of the breed. Like, they haven't done anything wrong, and also what great costumes, what great visuals, like,
That movie was so
Shunasasi
far
is
ahead of
like,
its time.
if I had to, like, be turned into a monster, Shunasasi would be my
I
choice.
can see you.
Like,
Maybe I can do some special effects in there or one of these conventions.
don't you threaten me with a good time.
I'd be into it.
I'll bring the quills.
Okay. You probably have them.
Yeah, no, that is a good question, but I think it really does, I don't wanna speak for everybody, but for me, there are so many villains that even when they are pretty bad, and they are actually the bad guy, you know, that's just the mark of great writing and great character development, that you still love them. I mean, Hannibal Lecter, like, I'm sorry, like, if you're, there has to be a little part of you that's rooting for Lecter. Like,
Little.
all of it.
Just reading the books. The books
Yeah,
have
the
so
books
many
are great,
layers.
yeah.
I mean, the movies give you like a basic gist, but like with your department
books
of
are always
writing,
good.
just the writing from Thomas Harris.
They did
Most
make
of
those
the
movies
time.
nice and digestible though. They,
Yeah.
like, that
Oh,
shit
yeah.
goes down like
Yeah.
butter.
I will tell you, one of the, in that franchise, a book that gave me nightmares was Red Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
The book, I actually like had a hard time sleeping while reading that. It was very, very upsetting. Very well written, but yeah. For those who like to read books, I will recommend something to you. John Lingfus that did Let the Right One In, he wrote a book called Little Star, which needs to be made into a movie, but it has not, and it's just, a lot of people do not know this book, but I highly recommend it. It is so unsettling, and he does this brilliant thing where he gives away the ending right in the first couple pages. He tells you exactly where this is going and what's gonna happen, but by the time you get to
backwards
it,
dichotomy.
yeah, but then when it starts and then you go, and when you get to that point at the end, you are still terrified, you are still shocked. Like, I remember, like, my heart sank, I was like, oh my God, and it's like, I knew it was coming.
If you could choose a director and a special effects artist to turn that book like into life, who would you pick?
Oh,
You can't pick yourselves.
Damn. I don't
can still make
know,
your friends.
special effects wise, I'm not sure, because there is, there's a little bit of gore, but it's not anything that couldn't be done by just about anybody, I think. Director wise, oh, that's a really good question. I feel like Mike Flanagan could probably pull
Wasn't
it
that your
off.
answer from yesterday too?
What?
Didn't I ask you a question yesterday in a different panel and you said something about
No, I
Mike
was on
Flanagan?
another panel yesterday.
Okay.
But if there's another blonde woman walking around that likes Mike Flanagan.
No, we were in the meet and greet.
Oh,
And one of you guys brought up Mike Flanagan and I was like, oh.
Oh, yeah, no, what are we talking?
I think
Yeah.
someone wanted to raid his closet.
Oh, yeah, no, that wasn't me though.
Gotcha.
But yes, but yeah, no, you're, somebody did say you. I don't know, he might be a little too, I don't know, a little too soft for it. I don't know, that's a good question, I'm gonna think about it and get back to you, because I'm not sure who I would wanna see that. I just know it would make a great movie, but yeah, so Little Star, read that book.
And never sleep again.
And Never Sleep Again, yeah. Alright, how much, was this just,
5:45.
so it's, yeah, so.
We can take like one more question. Anybody have one more question?
Did you guys talk about this already?
All right.
What's that?
Did you guys talk about music already in horror movies?
No, we didn't talk about music in
I think
horror.
that's a very important part.
As a musician, I might have thought to say that.
We have the writing aspect, we have the visual, we also have, you know, the auditory. Yeah, auditory is definitely very important, very crucial. Especially just sound effects. It doesn't even have to be like any kind of soundtrack behind it. You know what I mean? Just the sound effects alone can be unsettling if you don't see what's going on. So you have like no visual, you have the audio, and you're just like, you're mentally trying to picture this in your head. I think that can really, really bother somebody.
So, I know you're not a fan, but I just rewatched Midsummer the other night because I was hanging with a friend who hadn't seen it yet. And I paid more attention this time to some of the details because I had already, you know, seen the movie. And the use of sound in that movie is very unsettling, between just the scoring, the background, it's so like grating almost, but in little doses. But then when you factor in the scenes like with the wailing, like when they're all like wailing together, like there's just
Just
this
the
like,
intensity building.
yeah, like, but they never release it, they just keep you building up and and you don't get the payoff, and then it just
Yeah.
goes silent, and that's a really great trick
Yeah,
to use.
to play off of what you're saying too, like, when I have people come over to visit the place, I usually make it a more visceral experience, and there's dark ambient music playing the entire time. Not necessarily music per se, but uncomfortable sounds at low tone constantly there annoying you while you're looking at things. Kind of makes it a little more unsettling, not only just from a visual standpoint, but an auditory standpoint, that you're getting this, what the fuck is that noise? That's just like low clicking and whistling and
Yeah.
humming, and it's just like that annoying, like broken ground sound.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Practical jokes like Tom Savini, like his whole shop has all kinds of special effects all over the
Yep.
place. And he'll just grab something and just startle somebody, just for shits and giggles, because he can.
Yeah.
Like there was in the from the quote, it was actually from a documentary called Horror FX. You can find it on YouTube. It's about like 30-40 minutes long. He actually puts his hand in a box, and then has a prosthetic over top of his hand. So it made it look like an arm was in a box, and he unveils it and like moves his hand around and fucks with somebody. So like that essence that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like, he likes to disturb people just for shits and giggles. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's fun.
absolutely.
I mean, so do I.
I've really
I think all
gotten
of us do,
into,
don't we, a little bit?
oh yeah. Sometimes the lack of sound is really good too. There Will Be Blood. Not a horror movie, well, not really, but, yeah. Go back and watch that movie and listen. I know it sounds weird to say.
Yeah,
but
yeah, sometimes
it's,
that vacuum of silence.
Yeah.
Just.
Well, it's like The Quiet Place.
yes.
The first one, the second one was, but the first one, because it's like, there's literally 45 minutes into, is the first time you hear a sound.
Yeah.
And even though I don't think that sound is like one of the something that, it just, you are so startled by it.
Yeah.
Cause it's just like, you're just so used to like, there's no noise,
Yeah.
there's a noise. And it's like a leaf, and it's just like, it kills you.
Yeah.
But then on the other end, like something like Repo,
Mm-hmm.
where the music actually almost, because of the songs and everything, they're so integral, because they almost give you the backstory without actually having to like waste time giving you backstory.
Sure, yeah.
Because you feel through the music and the tone of the songs of what each character is really like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was originally a musical before it even became a film.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it was the whole idea behind that movie was a musical. And then incorporating actual artists and actors who could sing. I mean, Ogre, obviously. Bill Moseley actually did all the singing, so did Paris Hilton. So everybody who was in that film actually sung. There wasn't any kind of voiceover actors or anything like that. All of them did that performance.
I think Sarah Brightman was dubbed. I'm just kidding. Wouldn't that be funny though?
Oh
If
my God.
they
The one
were like,
person
no, we
who's,
don't
like,
need you to sing, we're just gonna like.
Blowing
overdub."
somebody out of the water with their voice is dumb.
All right, well, I guess it's time. Thank you guys for coming so much. I hope it was fun. Thank you for doing your demonstration. That was awesome.
I wanted to add like a little,
Oh yeah.
I mean, I figure if it's, going to be a visual aspect of my speaking, because I haven't done public speaking since I was in high school, I needed to bring something visual to this. If I didn't, that would be kind of silly, right? I'm an FX artist. I'm just going to sit here and talk about FX. That's kind of boring, right? You want to see something that you can actually take home with you. And again, like I said, play in your cabinets at home. Go through all kinds of things. Start playing with stuff. I mean, yeah, you're gonna get a little messy, you're gonna get a little dirty, but have fun with it. I mean, that's really at the end of the day, if you fuck up on anything, just sprinkle a little blood on it.
I'm gonna remember that all the time.
There you go.
It's like Portlandia, put a bird on it, I'm gonna say, put some blood on it.
Or a party monster. It's like, you have a hunchback, just throw a little glitter on it.
Do you have
Exactly
you wanna
that.
promote?
Good. If you guys want to check out my place online, you can go on Instagram. It's Spook.Haus, SPOOK.HAUS. Or you can pick up the latest copy of Weird New Jersey. I'm in there too.
And if you guys want to follow any of my special effects and artistry, I mean, you can find me on Instagram, Stacy Lynn Artist, or even just go to Stacy Lynn S on Facebook. Be more than happy to add you. Have any other questions, you want advice doing special effects, yeah.
And you can find me online, Donna Lynch, or under Ego Likeness, like we're all over the social medias and stuff. So,
Thank
well,
you.
thank
Thanks,
you all
guys.
very much.
I appreciate all of you guys, thank